Rev up your engines!
Now, here's another example of why you want the right to repair, so that all mechanics anywhere and yourself can get information to fix your car. There was a guy with a Tesla that hit something on the road, and he took it to Tesla and he said it's going to be $16,000 to fix your car. And the mechanic down the street fixed it for $700. And most of that was labor. That's just the way that it goes. And a company like Tesla, mechanics like myself, I can't even get repair information. I use All Data, which is a humongous data system for cars, right? Does all kinds of cars. It does not do Teslas. Tesla does not get that information out. The lying hypocrite that Elon Musk is, he originally said he was going to share his technology with everybody so the world would be a better place. Well, now he's running around suing the people saying you took my technology, and he's not even giving the information on how to fix his stupid Tesla cars to anybody else so that only his guys can fix it. So, total hypocrisy going on there. He said, I'm not going to pay 16 grand for that. Took it to a garage, and the guy fixed it for $700. And it basically only took about $40 worth of parts, cut off a broken plastic part, and then rethread the hole and put brass inside it and then tighten it up, and away he went, and it was fixed. You have to have the right to repair. Otherwise, if there's only one place to go to, they're going to screw you over. That's how it goes. That's why most people have high electric bills, because in most areas there's only one place that truly generates electricity. You pay what they're asking, or you don't have any electricity. And there's all these people thinking, oh, well, I bought green energy. Yeah, sure, you bought green energy. All the houses are hooked up to the same wires. If you live in an area where that electricity is made by burning coal, all right, you're getting coal electricity. There is a special guy that comes to your house and puts clean electricity through. No, it doesn't work that way. And it's the same thing. If you don't have a choice where you get your car repaired, they're going to stick it to you and say, oh, well, these are complex cars. Cost a lot of money to fix them, blah, blah, blah. You really need to watch it. If they have any of these bills where these companies try to say software, it's ours, we can't give it out to people. Force the legislators to pass these right to repair laws, because you don't want to lose that ability to have someone other than the people at the dealer who are going to stick it to you when it comes time to fix it. Well, here's an interesting one. Volvo has now spun off their internal combustion engine production. They're not making their own anymore. That was the one good thing that Volvo made. They made good engines. Now they're not even making that, because they're going into electric cars. That's what they say they're going to do in the future. All electric cars. The Chinese own a bunch of Volvo now, and they own the company, and Geely is a big Chinese company that really owns it. So Volvo and Geely got together with a powertrain company in China called Aurobay that's going to make the engine. So Volvo won't even make their own engine. So I would not advise buying a late model Volvo. If they're not even making their own engines, they're made in China by some other company, I wouldn't trust it. They're switching all their stuff over to a new company and concentrate on electric vehicles. So that tells me one thing. Don't buy a diesel or gasoline Volvo from now to the future, because they're not that interested in them. You'd be stuck with something that maybe they won't make parts for, or if you buy one the next year or two, you might find out that their new plant is a piece of crap and the engines aren't any good, because Volvo always made good engines. Who knows? Why would you change something that's really good? Well, the Chinese own them now. They can do whatever they want. They want 50% of their cars in Volvo to be fully electric by 2025. The other 50% to be hybrid, gasoline, diesel mixed with electricity, the hybrid cars. So they want a 50-50 mix. Good luck selling the cars. That's all I got to say. Yeah, the government will buy some of them and stuff, but the vast majority of people, they're not stuck on electric cars yet. And it's only 4 years from now, so it could be a bad move on Volvo. But on the other hand, Volvo's made so many bad moves in the past. Ford owned them for a while, GM owned them for a while, now the Chinese own them. I mean, they made lots of mistakes in the past. The other Swedish company that was known for making cars, Saab, they went bankrupt a long time ago. They made a lot of bad decisions, so hey, maybe this is another bad decision on the line of bad decisions that Volvo has made throughout history. Delano says, I got a 2021 Camry. I remember I read somewhere that before you put a car in sport mode, the driver should drive it about 15 minutes to make sure it's warmed up, because it could damage it otherwise. No, that's a bunch of nonsense. Maybe a zillion years ago, modern cars are all computer run. You don't have to warm anything up. It makes the sport mode be a little zippier, shift a little bit later. Some of them even change the ignition timing. You'll probably find the car actually runs better in sport mode when it's cold, because it gives it a little more pep. So no, that's just an old tale that might have been true 40 years ago, but it sure as heck isn't true today. They got them all designed right, and that's a Toyota, especially in 2021. That's Toyota's new system, which has everything. It has dual injectors. It has them on the intake, and also the GDI ones right into the engine block. No, you don't have to worry about it. You can drive it any mode you want, anytime, and it's not going to hurt anything at all. AJ2233 says, I got a Toyota Camry 2009. Do I have to scan it before I buy it? It's got 170,000 miles. The owner won't let me do a computer test. Is it okay not to do a computer test? No, don't buy it. Don't even think about buying it. If they won't let you plug it in, they're hiding something. Do not. Never buy a car like that. All the scanners, you plug them in, they give you data. Anybody can do it. You're not going to hurt anything. But if the owner won't let you do it, they're probably hiding something. There's probably codes that are hidden inside, and they don't want you to know about it. I've had customers bring me cars, and I look at them, and I don't have any codes yet. I look at is it ready for the inspection? And it should have 0 mil not ready. And if it's got mills not ready, that means they reset it. And it doesn't have the trouble code up yet, but it will soon. So even if it says mill not ready, I would not buy the car because it's probably hiding a secret problem. If the guy says you can't do it at all, run as fast as you can, look for another car because they're probably hiding something big time. Rick Q says, I got a 99 Mazda. The overdrive light is flashing on. I bought it used. The overdrive light flashes on and off. I looked it up and it said it might be a speed sensor, a solenoid. What do you think it is? You don't guess. Guessing is futile and you generally don't get anything fixed and you waste a lot of money. That's flashing. That means there's a code set. You need a mechanic like myself that has a high-level scanner that can read the transmission codes. Now, you get a generic one for, $50. It's not going to read transmission codes. So you're probably better off paying a mechanic like me who's got a $5,000 machine that can read all those codes and do bidirectional testing. And then it could be a solenoid. Most of the solenoids on those Mazdas, you got to drop the pan, get inside. It can be a big mess. You wouldn't know what you're doing. You're probably better to let at least the mechanic look at it and see what they say. Now, on the other hand, it's a Mazda. It's a 99. Back then, they didn't make that great automatic transmissions. If it still shifts okay, you could probably live with it. Lots of people do. I've had customers drive those things years with that OD light flashing. As long as it runs and it shifts good enough, you might live with it because I can just about guarantee you that little 1.6 liter engine, 22 years old, probably doesn't have much lifespan left in it anyway. Big Joe 1967 says, I have a rattling sound from my Subaru Forester. I'm in Montreal with 31,000 miles. This seems to come from the exhaust. The mechanic says they can't find what it is. What should I do? All right, well, find a real mechanic because they're idiots. Generally, that's the catalytic converter rattling, or it could be a heat shield or something. Jack it up in the air in your driveway and then start it up, put jack stands on and fall on your head. Have somebody rev it up a little and go to the catalytic converter. If you see it rattling, you can even watch one of my videos on catalytic converters and you can see where it is. You can get a little rubber hammer and hit it. If it rattles, the catalytic converter is coming apart and it's under warranty because it's only got 31,000 miles and I'll have to fix it free at the dealer. That's law. Now, it might just be a heat shield that's come loose. Then you just fix that, tighten it up, or take it off. It really doesn't do that much anyways. Those mechanics are idiots because anybody gets a rattling noise. It's not that hard to figure out. They obviously just don't care. Or especially if, say, it rattles first thing in the morning and not later, the catalytic converters heat up as you drive down the road, so the rattling can stop because the metal expands and it doesn't rattle anymore. Probably your catalytic converter. Any good mechanic, give it to them overnight. Let them check it in the morning. Like I say, check it yourself. You hit it with a rubber hammer and it rattles, it's the catalytic converter and they have to fix it for free under emissions laws. The Honda Dream says, is my charging system normal? At idle, the meter only reads 12.47 to 12.56. When I turn on the lights and rev it up, it reads 13.9 to 14.5. I don't mind changing the alternator, but I make sure that's the problem. If your belt isn't loose and worn and the alternator's not slipping, you need a new alternator. When it's idling, it's not putting out enough. Then when it gets a load, you rev it up, it starts charging more. It's supposed to charge at idle. That's the difference between a generator and an alternator. When I was a young mechanic, a lot of cars had generators. The problem was they don't generate that well at idle speed, and you'd often see the light would flicker for the battery when you were just idling, but when you drove it, it went off. Now that's normal for a generator, but not an alternator. Even at idle, it should charge, so you need a new alternator. I mean, of course, check to make sure the battery terminals are tight and not corroded and there's no wires that are worn out, but it's a Honda. Odds are it just needs an alternator because it should charge a lot more at idle than what it's charging. I've said, what do you think about classic cars and the E10 gasoline? Do they hold up with it? I'm in England, and now we're switched to that stuff, and I don't know, can my old cars run it? Theoretically, the E10 is what they all run in the United States at a bare minimum. 10% ethanol, 90% gasoline. I guess you guys in England are starting to use that stuff now. Theoretically has additives so that the alcohol doesn't damage anything. The problem you find with really old classic cars, and I know with British cars especially, is the old ones were made for leaded gas, where the lead lubricates the valves. And you would have to change the valves and put better seats on the heads in order for it to run correctly on unleaded gas. But unleaded gas has been around a long time. The E10 itself shouldn't hurt anything as long as your gas tank isn't old and has water in it, because that will absorb more water and clog everything up. So if you got an old car, you don't use it much, I'd say take the gas tank off, clean it off, make sure there's no water in it, away you go. But if there's residual water, when you put that in, the 10% ethanol will absorb that water and it'll clog everything up. That's the only thing you really would have to worry about. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.